Hello everybody. Back when my YouTube channel was hacked back in June, I unfortunately lost all of my Bedrock Cairn videos, the reviews, and recently I found some of the February of 18 reviews for the new Bedrock Cairn Pro. So that will be towards the end of this video. If you happen to remember some of those videos, I am a huge fan of the Bedrock Cairn, considering it to be the universe's very best ultra duty super Huarache sandal. Just this past weekend, October 12th and 13th, I ran the 6th annual Cloud Splitter 100 miler. Just 23 of us finished. And at that race, which I'm wearing the shirt for now, I did not pack any extra sandals, only the Bedrock Cairn Pro. The buckle is not here yet, but back in June, I ran the Kettle Moraine 100 miler all the way in the Cairns. Back in early September 2018, I ran the Superior 100 miler, which is a 4-4 ranked of a maximum difficulty of a 5-5 ranking. Extremely rugged and difficult 100 miler, all the way in my Bedrock Cairn Pros with no socks. There's no way to keep track of how many of the ultra marathons of the past several years have been all the way in Bedrock Cairns or other Bedrock products. This is the C&O Canal 100's 500 mile club buckle. I've now run that race 6 years in a row, most of those in the Cairns. The C&O Canal 100 is a relatively flat, easy course full of rocks and gravel for the whole 100 miles. People tend to get shredded feet. I can still say that after 14 100-mile completions, no blisters. So I have 3 pair of the Cairns, and this is the Pro model, and which does not have the plug on the bottom of the outsole. So I should probably explain that I have tweaked and customized these a bit. And over the years, I've changed that strategy. So basically, I've punched holes, used a belt sander and a buck knife to chisel these down just the way I like them for ultra running. I no longer put very many holes at the midfoot because I don't want the front of the sandal to droop down. So I want to keep the rigidity in the middle of the outsole, but I've punched quite a few holes in the outer edges all the way around the sandal to make them a little bit lighter and a little bit more flexible. I go around and trim off some excess rubber with a buck knife, and then to really fine tune it, I go over it with a belt sander, and I go top and bottom to kind of bevel them down, especially up front. And the most important thing for me is to smooth them out and bevel them at the front. This is where we're most likely to catch a rock or a root, especially traveling uphill. This is my original pair of Cairns. They were a prototype that came to me before the sandal went to market. And then this is a newer Cairn model before the Pro came out. So it's got the plug underneath the toe post area. This one's worn pretty smooth on the upper from a lot of miles. This is the thinnest pair I have, and I would wear these, I would favor these in a smooth, flat 100-mile course. So back to the newest pair, the Cairn Pro, which is designed to be to have a maximum grip on trails and wet wet trails. I often wonder if I can ever wear these sandals out. They have in the past been advertised as bomb-proof, which is really not much of an exaggeration. Like I said, for a Cloud Splitter, it was the hardest race I've ever run. I had no backup plan. That's how much faith I had in this sandal right here. This pair I reserved for races. Recently at a 50K, I cinched the laces down a little bit too tight at the beginning of a race and got some abrasion up front between the big toes. So kind of had to relearn that lesson, loosened them up in time, and was fine. 2 weeks later, ran the Cloud Splitter. A few tips for getting your foot to break into these, because these don't really need any breaking in. And some ideas for running extra long distances or races in them. I have gotten into the habit of washing them after a heavy use, and then before the next running, I apply a very generous amount of body glide to the insides of the lacing system all the way around. And before running in them, I would typically add body glide or something similar, generally plant-based skin lubricant, to the bottoms of my feet and on the tops of the feet where the lacing makes contact. Another reason to keep these clean is just to make sure this buckle tightening mechanism here stays functional. You don't want that to get too gummed up with dried dirt. The triple adjustable lacing system is phenomenal. My midfoot area has gotten really thick since I went to minimalist ultra running. So I keep this setting at the, I guess you'd call it the widest or the loosest setting. And I leave the Velcro alone back here. I can go months or longer with no adjustments to this. I don't want to wear out the Velcro. So to take the sandals on and off, I use this strap. For taking the sandals on and off, this strap and buckle on the outside of each sandal is how I loosen them to take them off and snug them and make fine-tuning adjustments on the fly. Just a few other tips for trying to go extra long distances, such as a 100-mile foot race. Carry some toe socks with you. I did have to wear one toe sock on my left foot at the Cloud Splitter 100-miler for about the final 25 miles. I cut my toe, which is very rare. Otherwise, I tend to bring medical tape and some KT tape designed to protect the feet at the strap areas. In my right hand is the new Cairn. Obviously it's nice and clean. In my left hand, an old Cairn model. And on the top front toe area, you can see that they've added a little bit of design feature here, which I think will make it a little more pliable and flexible and give it a little more grip. Basically the same thing at the heel. Upgrade number 4 has to do with what Bedrock calls the huggers. These, what I call the ankle side posts. The fabric stitching has been substantially improved, and it's really something you can feel really easily versus, I can't really show you. I've got my old sandals here and I can feel that the stitching and the fabric are more smooth. And while I've been fortunate, I haven't had any problems with blistering, even with running 100-mile foot races in these. Some people have had break-in issues with that. For a few people, I've recommended maybe rubbing in some coconut oil on the older Cairns, or rubbing some wax from a candle in there to help sort of smooth over and soften up that fabric. Modification number 5 is simply that the toe post location has been shifted back towards the heel by 2.5 millimeters. I can see it when I look at the old sandals versus the new, but most people probably wouldn't have noticed it had they not been told. I believe that is to give the wearer just a little bit more toe protection, and I'll be curious to see if I feel a little bit more comfortable. That should potentially loosen the laces just a little bit. We have an absolutely beautiful day out there today. Unseasonably warm. It's sunny and in the 50s, so this is going to be the last time these shoes will ever be clean and new and shiny. I am just a few miles from home in a flooded wetlands, having a ball in the new generation Cairn 2. And they are fantastic. Not a huge deal different from the prior model. So if you're on the fence, I guess all I can say is I like having a great piece of footwear in multiple stages of wear. Depending on where I'm going to be running would determine which wear level of sandal I'd wear. So I'm super happy to have a few different pair in various stages of wear, of being worn down and thinner. It would appear that the beaver population here in Beaver Creek, Ohio has expanded. Some new dams have been built, and some of my favorite trails are a little dicey. In my experience, the Bedrock Cairn fits true to size. For example, my feet measure 11.5 actual inches, so I wear a size 12 in Xero brand or Bedrock branded sandals. The only people that I guess I've ever heard of having issues with the sizing on this sandal are those with super extra wide midfoot areas. Now, it's possible that for those people, by trimming away some of this rubber, they could add enough flexibility to the wings or the ankle posts to allow these to work. But at some point in the future, Bedrock may come up with a wider outsole. And hey, I greatly appreciate you taking your valuable time to watch my videos. If you just subscribe, I'd appreciate it even more, and share these with anybody who might benefit.